I'm here and I'm live. Everybody watch out. It's host Eric, host Talking Fan People, host Talking Fan People Archives, and Rachel Lapalosa.
Hello.
Queen of Awesome. And I'm here tonight to talk about the difference between a healthy relationship versus an unhealthy relationship, and also bad guy versus good guy. So it was interesting. Rachel and I were just talking about a second ago. She was discussing how she was the bad guy in her relationship with an ESFJ.
I felt like I was the bad guy. I really did.
And basically, the reason she provided for this is along the lines of he wanted to go out a lot to a lot of different sort of social gatherings and such, and she didn't necessarily want to go out to all those social gatherings, and he'd feel offended if she didn't go with him, and yada yada, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, we began this live stream. Rachel, so why do you think that would make you feel like the bad guy?
I felt like I was never able to be enough of a good partner for him. I was much more satisfied with going to maybe half the events that he actually went to. But what he needed was me to be at all of them. So I felt really bad,
You also indicated that you felt like you were trying to change him a little bit.
Yeah, I did.
In the communication area?
Yep. Mm-hmm. It seems like things I say go right through you and you don't listen to me. So it was like a lot of roadblocks, but the guy overall, he was very warm and inviting, and he loved being around me, and he wanted me to be very much a part of his life.
You love me as much as I love you.
Yeah. And
exactly the way I tell you to.
Well, and that was part of it that didn't work.
That's the ESFJ magic right there. I think Kitty wants in.
Oh, she's outside?
Okay, yeah. No, did I not hear her meowing? Kitty? Pio? Where are you? My precious wonder kitty.
Oh, she is outside.
Yeah, I guess so. So anyway, in general, I would say that it's very possible to have a healthy relationship that's not good. And I would posit that that's more or less what Rachel's relationship with her ESFJ was. Probably neither of them were being ontologically assaultive to each other. They weren't saying, here's what's wrong with you and you need It's just they weren't well paired together. And
right.
I also had that kind of relationship with an ESFJ, which was a healthy-ish relationship. In other words, it wasn't in its relationship to each other capacity, it wasn't actively unhealthy. It wasn't countervalidating. It wasn't dismissive or belittling or whatever. Neither of us treated each other badly. But we couldn't ever see eye to eye because conflicting values and conflicting communication approaches. So for Rachel, ESFJX, that broke down to being the same problem that it was with me and my ESFJ. She wanted me to go to attend a bunch of family barbecues and commit all this time to all this socialization shit that I didn't want to do. I wanted to hang out by myself and do my thing that I wanted to do with my friends or whatever,
Yeah, I felt bad. I genuinely felt bad because it's so important to them. And a lot of times I genuinely liked the people that I was hanging out with, who was mostly his friends and family. But it was just overkill. I would see them more often than it suited my taste. And, the others can sense it too. They could sense my edginess that I was looking to walk out the door, but I couldn't really.
The thing is, nobody wants to be dragged off to some activity that they don't enjoy, especially not repeatedly. You might be willing to make a sacrifice for your partner occasionally, and that's not entirely unreasonable, although in general, it's better if you don't have to make sacrifices like that,
Yeah, right, exactly. It's much more comfortable.
I could conceive of an instance where maybe I'd have to ask Rachel for a bit of a sacrifice. Like, Rachel, I really need you tonight to be here doing this thing. And I know you're not going to like it, but I need your help. I can see myself asking for a sacrifice like that. But ideally, I will have structured things so I don't need to make her make any kind of sacrifice, you know?
And it wouldn't even be really a sacrifice. There's a little give and take that equals out a balance.
Yeah. But more or less, both Rachel and I have the same attitude, which is we don't want the other person to do things that they don't like or don't want to do. And there's something about ESFJs that don't respect that, you know?
Well, that's the truth.
You're not being a team player. Well, okay,
right.
But hold on.
Right.
It's fine with the team player thing, but I'm not on your team. You're not my team captain.
Well, right.
It's like, but your idea of the team here and being a team player is different than my idea of being a team player, and you're not respecting that. And you're not respecting that I can be a team player on my terms and not only on your terms.
Right. So Jake Hurwitz was saying that that's where I run.
Well, I mean, I think you're the ones who can get through to ESFJs and get them to respect your need for a lack of that sort of thing, because you're not meowing with them. Like, I meow with them, and it sounds like Rachel meows with them too.
Yeah, I do.
It's like, okay, but hold on here, meowity.
Yeah, and it's pretty difficult too, because I think overall, like, ESFJs have such a nice demeanor. They're very funny. They're very engaging. They're very inclusive. That's very attractive. Even in friendships, it's very attractive. Like, I learned a lot socially through ESFJs in high school, but when I explain to them, like, the things that I do in my life that are not practical or that maybe aren't all the way thought through, there's no support from them at all. And that's tough, because I don't need support from everyone, but I'd like to get support from my significant other in, making decisions.
So, regarding the distinction between healthy, unhealthy, and good and bad guy and such that we mentioned here, the alternative to a healthy relationship, which nobody's really the bad guy. In other words, Rachel wasn't really the bad guy in that relationship. There wasn't a bad guy in that relationship. There were two people who were not compatible fundamentally, and they had to split up, but neither of them was at fault. No. It's different in a relationship where one party is unhealthy fundamentally, because then you genuinely have a good guy and a bad guy. And I've been in one of those relationships. Rachel's been in one of those relationships.
Yeah.
And because we're both fundamentally they don't have attachment disorders, that means in those relationships we're the good guy, and the other person is the bad guy.
Yeah, it's pretty clear.
And if you've been in a relationship with somebody who's got BPD or some other sort of narcissistic personality disorder or something like that, you know what I'm talking about. That it's one of the big problems in dealing with those kind of situations is there's always a tendency that he said, she said it, which is not appropriate in that context.
Mm-mm. No.
So how was your experience with somebody who had an attachment disorder, Rachel?
Confusing, because there was this intense need, like, there's this intense need to be with me, like, come here right now, like, I don't care how you get here, just get here. Although, he wouldn't pick me up, but he needed to get me to get there as quickly as possible. And then other times where I would be with him, but it would be 2.5 weeks that we have gone without seeing each other. And it's like, am I in a relationship? Like, what just happened? So for me, the BPD, and I think he was narcissistic also, ran really hot and cold, and it was like very intense. Very intense. Like, there was no real gray, cushy, maybe in the beginning, maybe the first week, but then it changed.
And when he was being negative, was he very attacking?
Yes.
So it's like, Rachel and I don't really ever get as hacking at each other.
No.
We're pretty damn careful about our words.
Yeah.
I think that's hugely important. And the thing that BPD people don't understand. In fact, I remember reading something on a webpage written by somebody who had BPD and was sort of, unlike most BPD people, acknowledging it and trying to grow, I guess you'd say. And she said, God, sometimes I wish people would just not take words so seriously. Which is to say, the BPD people, they can't really help it. They say awful things, and then they go, yeah, but don't judge me for that.
Yeah. Or, yeah, it was a joke. I didn't mean that seriously.
Or you're too sensitive.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're just being too sensitive.
Yep.
No, you said something awful. And see, this is the difference between me and my experience with somebody BPD and most people. Even with me, I internalized the critiques and figure out what was wrong with what I was doing.
Oh, yeah.
And eventually I realized there's nothing wrong with what I'm doing. And I started to turn those sort of things against her. And that just causes enormous conflict because they can't accept being accountable. They have, what we're fundamentally talking about here are people with accountability avoidance disorder.
Mm-hmm.
Right now I have bong hit polling solution.
Effie is very attractive. It's very attractive. But it's not for everyone.
The thing is, AAD people, they do a lot of damage. They do a lot of damage to innocent people who are trying to deal with them as though they were fair and honest, forthright people. But they're not. They're dealing in bad faith, fundamentally, is what it boils down to. That's what accountability avoidance syndrome is dealing with other people in bad faith. You can't rely on them to fairly deal with you, like language-wise. They're going to always deal with you unfairly, and there's no way to fix it.
Yeah.
As far as I can tell.
No, they have to want to, and that's the hardest problem. Like,
they won't admit they have a problem.
Yeah. They really don't. They're also very charming, especially in the beginning, I find. Very charming people. Like, I don't know how.
It works well enough on most of the people in the world. They're bullshit. So they can either muddy it so it's confusing and they're not the bad guy.
Right. That's
their number one technique.
Yeah.
Or they can win the argument and convince everybody they're the good guy.
They get crowns on both. A lot of people still like them.
Right. And it's very few people who are like me who've got this sort of radar for them. And also that they have got radar for me where it's like they see me and they go run in terror because I bring the light of day, and there's nothing else that they hate more than the light of day because they have accountability avoidance syndrome. And here I am making them be accountable and be fair and deal with people fairly and be honest. And they don't like that at all. It's like their worst nightmare.
Yeah.
So on an unrelated note, we typed Horse Mumbler's dad tonight. Typed in his ISTP.
Mm-hmm. It's really cool to see the interaction between the son and the father, and how the identification of MBTI type actually really helped.
Well, and it was another instance of somebody, I think, mistaking intellectualism for intuition. Just because his dad's very smart and very capable of talking about ideas and interested in classical music and things doesn't mean he's not a censor. And in fact, STPs can display like that a lot. They're still TI users, and so yeah, I think ISTP is the correct typing for Horse Mumbler's father. Now, Horse Mumbler had thought his father was an INTJ, and I would attribute that mostly to the fact that they both have fourth slot FE, so they're not very good at noting cues of FE. There's a lot of body language that you can use for identifying FE. Like somebody with good FE will include the other person in the conversation, like that, and FE polar won't bother with it. They won't pay attention to those sort of elements. They're not considered relevant. True. It's like everybody's responsible for their own emotions and their own sort of happiness. Hi, Octavio Silva. Are you in a healthy or an unhealthy relationship? Or are you a good guy or a bad guy? That's one of the topics of this video. But there are other topics as well, such as ISTP versus INTJ. Is it easy to tell them apart? The answer is not necessarily, except the FE polar is pretty clear cut, Also, the TI valuing and TI use as a sort of determining frame is pretty obvious versus the TE. But it's hard to say. It's like you can't get really clear cut like this test will prove, but yeah, they feel pretty different, and I'm quite confident that Homeboy we typed tonight was an ISTP.
Yeah.
Ready to tell my darling? So I am putting it out there officially right now that Rachel and I comprise an example of what a healthy couple looks like, in which there's no win-loss shit. So neither of us want the other person to lose. That, I think, is one critical element of it. If you're trying to come up with rules for a healthy relationship, don't seek win-loss in which you win. You can offer win-loss in which you lose. That's a good thing to do because that's being accountable.
Yeah.
If it's appropriate.
Right.
But things shouldn't be win-loss where you insist that you're going to win and they're going to lose. If there has to be some sort of compromise, then it should be a compromise where both parties feel like they've been treated fairly and equally. If your partner is guilty of some sort of wrongdoing that needs to be accounted for, then that should be dealt with exclusively on a behavioral level and be framed inherently as something that deviates from the goodness that we are in some fashion. And then that can be talked about. But it's like, by and large, a healthy relationship is one in which the two parties are constantly feeling enthusiastic about one another.
Yeah.
And not finding things wrong, but we're just continually finding things right.
It's funny. I feel like it's like I have a crush on you. So it's like I have this like this giddiness about being around you just because I enjoy it.
And I think that's kind of an NIFI approach. My SIFI approach is like, I feel like you're my comfort blanket thing, that I need to have you. I like having you near me. It's more comfortable when you're here. I enjoy doing, even if you're over there in the chair and sort of not actually participating like in a typing session, I enjoy having you here. I enjoyed working when you were able to watch me work, or even if you're not paying attention, if you're in the room, it's like, it's so much more satisfying because Rachel's here and she'll have some sort of interesting thoughts about it or whatever, talk with me about it. I just generally get to show off a little bit. See what a good teacher I am, Rachel?
Really good teacher. I'm glad that I never had you as a teacher.
You're glad you never had me?
Yeah.
Or glad it would be too tough?
Yeah, and I'd have a crush on you. It'd be awkward.
Oh,
I
I love you, Rachel.
love you.
You're my precious Easter basket full of eggs. You're my home and auto bundle. I think, Octavia Silva, will you agree that home and auto bundle is a good term of endearment for
It
somebody?
really is. That's the full package.
Mhm.
That's like, when you get the TV package. That's the full bundle, right?
Well, the full bundle, to be perfectly honest, what she is the home, auto, TV, internet, and phone bundle all in one. You get home and auto insurance plus TV plus internet plus phone, all bundled for one low price, only $11.99 a month for all of that. Talk about the best deal ever.
That is the best deal ever, and that's me. Thanks, baby.
Yeah. As you can see, it makes me all Macaulay Culkin.
Yes.
So, Octavia Silva,
Ah,
let's pull a couple of cards for you.
yeah.
I feel like the tarot is calling your name. Let's do a fairly full pull for Octavia Silva, okay? Now, note, Octavia Silva, what a full pull means here is we're going to do the double pull. In other words, you're going to get guidance on a given area from each of two decks. Rachel will pull one. I'm going to pull one. Pick your deck, Rachel. You want that deck?
Yeah, it's true.
Okay.
Trade.
All right. So let's start with Octavio Silva's conception self. This is the self that links to what you were at the moment of conception before you had any experiences at all. Conception self. We've never done conception self before. This is breaking new ground. This one. Okay, I got my conception self. Rachel's got hers. Let's see what they are. Ooh. It was, at your birth, at your moment of conception, it was all possibilities, all just good stuff. It was an increase. It was new you. It was the beginning of a new Octavio Silva. Everything was hunky-dory, just nothing but possibilities and new beginnings.
Yep.
Now let's talk about your birth canal self. This is the self that was changed by your experience of birth. In other words, how did the experience of birth change your conception self? Did you have an easy birth, a rough birth? We'll find out.
I like that the Pentacles is round like an egg.
Good point. And the cup is cup-shaped like a uterus.
Yeah.
Okay, so now your birth canal self. We've got two conflicting elements here. What that means is probably you had a rough birth. This 9 of Swords, I believe, says something like you're tired of carrying shit. Oh, anxiety. Okay, so it was very scary for you, but it turned out that when you popped out of the vag in the end, you were like, hey, you know what? That wasn't so bad. I'm okay. I'm all right. I'm the Queen of Swords now. Queen of Wands now.
Yeah.
So it's like this was during the birth canal process. You were quite unhappy. You were at your breaking point. Anguish. You were focusing on the past. I want to go back up in there where it's more comfortable and warm.
Yeah, who could blame you?
But finally you popped out and you're like, hey, you know what? Now I've got a cat. I've got a stick. I've got a chair. I'm good. Okay, now let's do the 10-year-old self. This is the decade self. Hi,
What's
Isaac
up?
Roddy. Decade self.
Decade.
How did the first 10 years of your life change you from your original conceptual self through your birth canal self into your 10-year or your decade self? Sure, horse mumbler. Yeah, totes, dog. Totes. I feel you, dog.
Yeah.
You'll note my great discretion in this video of not talking about anything specific. Okay, so this is your 10-year-old self, huh? Ooh. At 10 years old, things were not going good for you, Octavia Silva. You were in a crisis time. You experienced the poverty and hardship of lack and outcastery. And that was a very sad time for you. Okay. Are you over 20 years old yet?
I'm thinking,
You're 21.
Okay, cool.
Now, this is going to be your 15-year-old self. So at this point, you've got some acne going on.
Mm-hmm.
You got some pubes growing.
Yeah.
Your 15-year-old self. Here we go. You're feeling a lot better at 15. You were impetuous, enthusiastic. You were using cuttingness in some fashion, I guess. But you were also a little hasty, a little bit hasty, a little bit naive, a little bit overly eager, perhaps. But, that's typical for a 15-year-old. Okay, now, your current or 21-year-old self. Okay, here it is. Uh-oh.
Interesting.
I would suggest that the 21-year-old self may be the end of a period of burden or oppression and the beginning of a foolhardy but lighthearted and warmly naive journey of Mierimia. Now, should we do middle-aged self? Even though you're only 21, you still have a part of you that's 45.
No! That's hysterical.
Okay. No future readings. Okay, no. No, I'm not doing a future reading. I'm not doing a future reading. That's why I was clarifying.
You made it very clear.
Even though you are not 45, you have a self within you, a more mature self. Okay. So we're just reading about your more mature self, not what you're going to be when you're 45 years old. Okay. We're going to give your middle-aged self and your old-age self. This is not predictive. It is a quality implicit within you. Okay. Is that cool, Octavia Silva? Okay. Middle-aged self. Again, not prediction of what you're going to be in middle age, but the quality of you that's middle-aged right now. So interestingly, we've got action, speed, and death is the mature part of you. The mature part of you goes and does shit and gets things progressed upon and completes things. That's the middle-aged, like, go get them self, Now, here's your old-age self. The part of you that when you're really sort of sitting with your wisdom, knowing what's important, and telling stories to the grandkids about how they should be. Okay, this is your old-age self. All right. Now here. Ooh. 3 cups and this one, the star. You're a star. Turns out you're a star by many years of doubt. You're a star pouring water from these jugs. Do 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 do. 2 boobs, some hair. I never knew what was under there. Now I see that I am a super big star. So anyway, that's your old age self. So when you're at your most mature, your most wise, your most like ontologically attentive, I guess you could say, then that's what you're just doing right there. That stuff. So how do you like that, Octavia Silva? How did you like that? Do you feel like that got to the core of your being? Has the tarot rendered your soul exposed for everybody to see now?
It's for Jimmy.
Yeah, sure.
Yay.
Same sort of thing?
Yeah.
Same age one? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Let's do it. Wow, cool.
Wow.
Not cool that happened, I mean, but cool that we got it right, you know. Okay, let's do the Rachel Pachel. So we're gonna do your moment of conception self. You want to switch decks again? Or you want to keep this one? Fine. Let's do this. We're gonna do the conception self.
This one seems to want to pop out. Damn.
You were born under inauspicious stars, my darling. Conflict. Born and conceived in conflict and indecision. Interesting. But you know what? The hero has to have shit to overcome in life. Otherwise, what's the point of the journey, right?
Well, I mean, I was like the one to like last. Like my mom had 2 miscarriages before me, so that makes sense with the conflict, you know.
It does. Okay, conceived in that fashion. I guess
release.
It sounds like your parents, right? You know.
Yeah.
Okay. So now let's do birth canal self. How was your birth? Let's find out. Was it a picnic or was it a nightmare? Let's find out. Okay, so birth was a workmanlike affair, I'd say. Consistent with a woman's native capacity to give birth and consistent with the normal birthing ways and means. Effective. Maybe mom got an epidural or something.
Something.
Were you a difficult birth, you know?
No.
You were an easy birth?
What do you mean, to conceive me?
No, the birth part.
Yeah, it was easy. My mom says I was ready.
Usually people don't know how difficult it was to conceive. Yeah, your dad took a long time to come.
Shut up. But my grandma did tell me that she knew I was gonna be a girl and she had wished for me, like, I don't know. The intuition. The intuition. Yeah.
Okay.
LOL.
Now, so now let's do your decade self.
Okay.
This one popped right out. At 10 years old, 4 of Swords. At 10 years old, impetuous, enthusiastic, hasty, eager. What's the 4 of Swords?
Rest.
So, fear, stress, mental overload, need, solitude, solutions are available, not as bad as it seems, having faith. And so, you know, it seems like maybe you were going back and forth between being too eager and hasty and too withdrawing and finding your way. You know?
This is me like outside and stuff. And sometimes at school. Also, me at school too, you couldn't get me up. Like, it was very hard to get me up for school.
Okay, well, I mean, I'd say, yeah, let me finish what I'm doing, Horse Mumbler, and then I'll talk about that.
Yeah, because I'd like to hear that too, actually.
Okay, so we'll do 15 years old.
Yeah, 15. Ooh.
trying to rake leaves with a little shovel. And fuck it, I'm gonna go do some shit.
Yeah.
So, you know, again, it's sort of a mix of do. Oh shit. TE getting in the way from part of the thing. All right, now let's do your 30-year-old self. Emperor, Queen of Wands. I would say this is much more like your current self. This is probably your 35-year-old self. You know, the one we did after 15 for Octavia Silva was 21. So the one we should do after 15 for you is 35. I think this is exactly how you're feeling right now, probably.
Mhm.
You know, you're feeling like on top of your shit. You know, you're feeling things are dependable. I don't know about the rigid and stubborn though. You know, it's like things about structure. Maybe this actually is 30. What is the Queen of Wands again? Let me see. Feeling full of energy. Care. See, I think in this regard, this probably is 30 years old then, because
Like really like standing up for myself and stuff and not lying. I like really took a practice at like telling the truth all the time, and I was coming into it. It felt good, but I you know that was 30, and I was getting more creative and stuff.
okay, so I guess this is 30.
Yeah, I was starting to do more astrology stuff, and I was more playful.
Okay, let's try current then. Should be next one, and then we'll do your 50-year-old self and your old age self. Okay. Current. King of Wands. This one. Well, you hand it to me upside down. In this instance, we may want to consider the reversal as relevant.
Okay.
Because I just don't see this as applying to you right now.
No.
Do you?
No, I've been sleeping.
I've been sleeping, but have you been sorrow, anguish, crisis, sobbing?
No, that's over.
Yeah, I would say the reversal of this is applicable.
Yeah, I handed it to you like that, so.
Yeah, it's true.
Hey,
do you want to be a moderator? Or do you have a link you want to share with us? I'll put you as moderator temporarily for the link. Sure. Okay, so put this one upside down.
King of Wands. I like went from my like Queen of Wands to my masculine King of Wands self.
Because now you have energy and experience to accomplish goals, taking control of your life, motivation. You're fearless. You know, it's like things are a lot. You're just more empowered now.
Yeah.
All right, so now we've got to go to your 50-year-old self. This is you at your most middle-aged quality. Partnership and vision about intuitive things? Boy, that's perfect, Rachel. That's perfect for us.
That is.
I don't see anything at the moment. I just see you saying, "Can you guys see it?" I don't see anything else besides that. Maybe you have to be a certain kind of bigness in order to allow people to post links or something. And then
we have nice contacts to the moon and some astrology.
Mm-hmm. Why? No, he can't bestow you a wrench. Okay, now your old age self, your wise old lady self. Okay. Wise old Rachel says, "Don't forget to keep your 8 sticks up in the air."
I'm getting a lot of 8 sticks.
Well, also, you got to remember, life's a series of transitions and voyages. These are my old age wisdoms for you. So she's at her wisest old self when Mia and Mia.
I'm real taking action on things.
Why is the channel changed to archives? That's a very active form of wisdom, huh? I think it makes sense because your 4th slot SE gets more mature as you get older. Your 4th slot gets more mature. tinyurl.com/RachelFace. Okay, so yeah, obviously it must be like I can't empower you to post links because I'm not big enough channel yet or something.
like that read. It's pretty good life.
Yeah,
I think so.
I think so too. So regarding the ISTPs, first of all, I'm not very confident about duality in general. I have a hypothesis that says duality works better for judges than for perceivers. I have a stronger hypothesis that says duality doesn't work well for perceivers. If you want by working well, I mean calm, low conflict compatibility. I'm not talking about growth potential, where it would seem to me that you got probably better both growth potential and duality than in some other capacity. So I forgot what I was doing. I was gonna write here tinyurl.com/Rachel Space. Rachel's face or Rachel face?
Wow. That's so nice.
I'm not sure that's the right one or not. No, it is Rachel's face.
Wow.
It'd be a different
Thanks, Octavio Silva. That's so nice. Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you.
So, what is this painting here? Who made this painting? Top favorite influential people. Let me do a little bit more time about ISP, and then I'll answer that question. Penitent Magdalene. Oh, okay, sure. I can't see if you can see it.
Yeah, they should be able to.
Yeah, they can. Okay. Hi, Nicolay Shea.
Hey.
Oh, we are socially distancing fine. Yeah, I know. It does. She's quite the penitent Magdalene. So, anyway, ISTPs. The thing about them is they're straightforward. They're simple in a way. They're very smart, but they're simple in that they have a clear understanding of what they're doing and why they're doing it in a way that NTPs simply do not. And as far as the relationship between ENFJ and ISTP, I'm just not sure if it works well or not. Really,
Bye, Octavio Silva.
Bye, Octavio. So interesting there. Horse Bert. Now, your mom her first husband was your dad, right? So you're saying, why did that ISTP relationship not work and the second one did? I don't know. I have no explanation for that. That would seem to be a piece of evidence that would contradict the likelihood of him being an ISTP. But I don't see him as being anything else, frankly.
No, he definitely is.
He doesn't have a lot of ideation at all. And when you ask him ideational questions, he displays this kind of like, I don't know, this very ISTP-ish, you know. It's not like fifth slot valuing of extrovert intuition like you see in an INTJ.
No. Yeah, what you're saying about the INTJ looking straight forward is definitely INTJ. Look at your lips are so soft. They are.
Well, yeah, I asked him about that stuff, and he's building some sort of array for growing stuff, and more likely to be the second, probably. I don't know. My mom had pretty good TE workarounds, I guess you could say, but it's more likely to be the second. My friend Cameron has got good FE, but he's definitely an ISTJ. I mean, good FE meaning it's effective. The thing about it is, if somebody with good FE workarounds, what they look like is they still have a very narrow band of FE. It's not really they have good FE workarounds. It's more like the narrow band of FE that they do have is inoffensive and, in fact, rather pleasant. And so most of the time they seem like they're good FE. But if their narrow band of FE landed somewhere else along the FE spectrum, or more negative, or then, the point really is the lack of responsiveness to FE matters, and the lack of activity regarding FE considerations. That's the cue. Well, that's because your whore grandmother was pregnant out of wedlock, horse mumbler. That's why that happened. I want you to go find that grandmother, and I want you to go right up to her and say, "Whore! You filthy whore!" Okay, well, super big on remembering calling people on their birthdays. It is an FE value for sure, but the remembering part, and that would be a workaround. If the person turns out to be an ISTA, that would be an example of a workaround, because it would be an example consistent with SITE, the sort of algorithmic approach towards FE that can be learned and applied. I'm sorry, baby. Okay. I didn't mean to elbow you in the boob.
That's okay.
So yeah, one thing that can destroy a relationship is excessive boob elbowing. So it's something I'm really careful to not engage in very often. It does happen occasionally accidentally. But if I were to be constantly elbowing Rachel in the boobs, that would be harmful to our relationships. And just to bring it back to the central theme of healthy and unhealthy relationships. Have you ever been in a relationship where the main problem was your partner accidentally elbowed you in the boobs all the time?
No.
But I bet there's somebody for whom that's been the problem out there. Accidental boob elbowing could be a serious problem.
I have been, I can't think of instances where I had been hit in the boob and it really hurt. I can call the person.
I can think of instances where I got hit in the nads and it hurt. But
Ow.
I don't think anybody ever did it intentionally.
Good, because that's a real dick move.
Yeah. There's at least 2 generations of babies in here now. There's a new generation of babies. What are we going to do with all these guppies? Let me bring the camera over.
When were they born?
Look, you can see the little ones,
Oh my gosh.
little teeny ones, and then there's the bigger ones.
Wow. Who had babies?
Yeah, come on, you guppies. You need to stop living in sin. You need to stop being like Horse Mumbler's grandmother. I'll show you what I have here. I've got some fish in the tank that are little fish. They are called little fishy fish. You can see the fishy fish in the fishy tank, and they're fishing with the fishy fish. Yeah, fishy fish. Yeah, fishy fish. Also some snails too. A lot of fishy fish, a lot of fishy fish. What's the fish you gonna do? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think it's the dark one.
Ah, that requires a lot of.
I bet Aquaman would know.
Aquaman would know. Fortunately, it's not safe to bring Aquaman around because when he comes around, fish tend to make things explode for some reason.
You're just gonna use them to.
He comes in here and he'll like knock a guppy out and he'll hit Rachel's bag. Rachel's bag will explode for some reason.
They're guppies, right?
Yeah, they're guppies. I do have to say, I appreciated how ridiculous see, I don't even know if you saw how small the small one. Like there's some really small ones. You see the little tiny one over there? Up at the top. Look up there, little tiny ones.
Like there?
Yeah, like that guy right there in the back.
Yeah, to the top, right?
Yeah. Yeah, those little tiny ones.
They're cute.
Yeah.
I think they just were laid.
They must have just been hatched or something, yeah.
Because I think that there's another one, like, okay, so there's this dude who's going to have babies soon, but there's a black one of that, and that one was pregnant also, and I think that might be them. Congratulations.
Congratulations, moms. You know, your babies, when they get bigger, we're going to eventually have to get rid of some of you guys. You're going to be too many fish for this tank.
Yeah.
You can only have so many fish in the tank before everyone goes, hey, there's too many fish in this tank.
Yep.
Do you like having this aquarium here, Rachel?
Yes.
Me too. Does it provide you a warmth and goodness to your moist parts?
It really does.
Me too.
You know, I was thinking, our relationship is pretty moist.
It is.
Yeah.
It's like a delicious slice of pound cake.
It really is. Oh, so good.
We're like angel food cake
so.
mixed with pound cake mixed with devil's food cake.
So moist.
And when you get that, that's an angel and a devil pounding.
It is. I was looking at like that birth chart thingy for us of the relationship, and it says the relationship is comprised of 10 like waters, so it's like highest at water, so we're like literally a moist relationship.
We are very moist. But we like to refer to it as gaffery. Or a sort of gaffness.
It is so gaff.
I think we both feel very liberated by our partner's equally enthusiastic gaffery, right?
Yeah.
It's like, it's nice to be with somebody that you can sort of like, high five, we're super happy, and be honest about it, and the other person honestly be high fiving you back. It's almost impossible to find that. I'm 48 years old, and I just found it this year, you know? She's 35. She beat me by 14 years. 30. She's 36 now? Or
35.
Or 35. Mm-hmm. So 13 years, yeah. I'm not quite 49 yet.
Sounds about right for an ENTP INFJ, though.
Yeah, right. You know, INFJs do mature faster than ENTPs. We're a little bit of perpetual children.
Mm-hmm.
I like being that, though.
Me too.
That's a 7 thing, too.
Yeah, I know.
You know, INFJs come across as a lot more mature, but deep down they're the same kind of intuitives. You know, we're metaphysicians, which means we don't take seriously all this same sort of normal censorship that people take seriously. We just think that that's dumb.
Yeah. It's true.
Dumb, 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 like a big glass of rum. Yeah. So, any last comments, concerns, complaints, queries, matters of interest related to this topic or something else before we That's very sad.
Yeah, that doesn't sound right at all.
Okay. Well, I mean, the thing is, ISTPs don't necessarily work with their hands. It's a somewhat of a stereotype. He does the digital equivalent, which is he does programming type stuff. Um, he's got excellent TI. It could be 6-slot demonstrative, but it didn't sound like 6-slot demonstrative. It sounded better than that. Of course, he's very practiced because he's doing it with conditional logic all the time. I mean, it's a difficult distinction to establish definitively because there's a lot of similarities. The best distinction is the one I can least objectively substantiate, which is that's not what 7-slot FE looks like. So, and he just also doesn't seem like an intuitive to me at all. What makes you think he's intuitive? Like, where's okay, NIIC, sure, but it's not the sort of N that is, he doesn't, it's not just that he's saying he's not much of a storyteller. Indicative in that tonally to me was, and he doesn't think much of storytelling. And so it's like, that's what, he seems a censor to me. So she wasn't your grandma then. She was your mother you're talking about. Oh, I see what you're saying. Never mind. Okay, well, that's going to conclude it for this live stream, I think, because Rachel and I have a big date. ENTP and ISP working together on a project would be a good idea, remember speaking. Only if the ENTP is in charge, because we're supervisor types to ISTPs. And so, it's like, here's what's happening right now. Right? Horse Smuggler's dad is thinking about how he's going to TI defend some bullshit that he believes in. It's not TI defensible. And if he were to come back and we were to discuss it again, I'd cut it into pieces in a second again, And he'd realize, I'm never going to win any arguments with this guy. And he just sort of shake his head and be like, and that's the end of that. It's ISTP in a nutshell. It works fine if the ENTP is in charge. It doesn't work fine if the ISP is in charge because the ENTP is too powerful to be supervised by the ISTP or directed by them in that kind of a relationship. It's like even doctor-patient. My doctor's an ISTP, and I'm running the show in those sessions. It's just because, I don't know. It's like they're susceptible to I'm hitting them as polar. I'm explaining to him all these reasons why he ought to do meh. If it's something that is a discretionary matter that requires him to apply discretion or a standard, he's going to side with me every time. If it's a rule thing, I've got no chance because it doesn't matter. But I can, that's part of being an ENTP extrovert intuition dom is knowing where the soft spots are. So he's toast. It's like if I want this drug or that drug, I could get it. I just have to want it bad enough to go in and bullshit, And I have a lot of personal limitations that prevent me from taking advantage of this very much, but that's the reality of it. So that's my answer to that question. Now, we've got an important date to watch some sort of movie. We're not sure which yet.
Yeah.
But maybe going to be a black and white movie, maybe going to be a period piece.
Yeah.
Something a little different than we've been watching. So we'll see. Good night. Sleep well. Don't let the Fred bugs bite. Fred bugs will sometimes come in and try to bite you.